What is up, fantasy football fools? We are back after a long extended break. Sorry about the interruption there with the podcast. Been a busy few weeks, but we're back now. We're going to try and hopefully keep these a little bit more consistent throughout the rest of the season. I'm going to do a little recap here of what we've got so far. We're probably going to skip the game recaps for this week and just get right into the season as a whole and how it's unfolded to where we're at right now. So I'll start with you. How are you feeling about your team?
I'm feeling great. My team had a total remake the last couple weeks. Malik Neighbors went down. What was that? Like week 3, week 2, week 3, something like that. I think it was week 3.
I think it was three.
And everything just been trending up since then. I actually thought my season was definitely over, and then somehow I beat Chewy that week. And then I get Nico the next week, and then I get Josh out on the next week. So my team's definitely different. A lot of potential, and I'm feeling really good sitting at 3-2. We've seen it's been a roller coaster of 5 weeks for my team at least, and probably your team too. When we get to your team, it's been a roller coaster, but you're kind of going the opposite way what I'm doing. But I'm feeling good at 3-2. I got a 57% chance for the playoffs. I have Jimmy this week, and I'm excited to see my new team and how they play together. How about you? How are you feeling about your team, Ryan?
Not as good as I was last week, or I guess probably 2 weeks ago. No, last week. Yeah, last week when my team was fully healthy, coming in 4-0, was feeling pretty good. Um, right now we're a little down. We're a little down. We got some injury problems going on. Trey Benson, who I drafted, was a great guy to have when James Conner went down and he got injured the first game that he played. So not great there. And then the exact same week, Bucky Irving, my second best running back, top 10 running back, goes out for a questionable amount of time. So my running backs coming into the season were great, but we weren't deep, and I'm already living out my nightmare of how that unfolds, having to have Sean Tucker in here. I played Isaiah Davis last week and took my first L. It's Things aren't looking good right now, but the good news is it's just because of injuries. So if my guys can get healthy and come back, we should be able to right the ship. I'm feeling really good about all the other pieces around them. So hopefully we can scrap together a couple wins while these guys are hurt. And if I can get fully healthy again for a playoff run, I'll be feeling pretty good. I'm at least 4-1, so I have a little bit of breathing room. I can take a couple losses if I have to while my guys get healthy, but we certainly want to try and put together as many wins as possible.
Yeah. So who do you think is the most surprising team? I think I know the answer, but let's talk about his team if it's the team I'm thinking about, and how he's done it this year.
Yeah, I think I have two answers here. One that's surprising in a good way, and one that's surprising in a really bad way. So we'll start with the bad first, which is Jeff. Jeff coming out of the draft, I think we talked about his team being really one of the best. We were really hyping his team up coming out of draft night about how good that it
I
looked.
was not.
Well, I think we were both high. I might have been higher than you, but I think we were both high on it. We were both at least saying that Jeff had a good team coming out of that draft. Nonetheless,
Yes.
um, comes out 0-4. I think that was a big surprise. He's been spiraling in the worst way, and then Lamar Jackson goes down. So Jeff has definitely had a rough start to the season, and I think that's my first big surprise in the bad way. But if we want to go back, my surprise in the good way, I think is Chewy, and I'm
Yep.
guessing that's probably who you were talking about too. This was the complete opposite of what we just talked about with Jeff. We came out of the draft saying how Chewy's team didn't look that good. I think you were lower on it than me. I can't remember actually. That was just I was just saying that.
You were lower on it.
We were both low on it nonetheless. But he has come out swinging. This guy, I think he's first in the league in points, and he's 4-1. His team looks really good right now, and they're kind of firing on all cylinders. So yeah, I think this is the surprise in the positive direction. This is definitely, I think, probably the team to beat right now. If I had to say, you agree?
Yeah, I do agree, and I did beat him by like half a point, which was awesome.
You did. You kept me as the only undefeated team for 1 week. which I appreciated. But yeah, you barely squeaked that one out, which was really honestly a hype game to watch because I can't remember if it was Sunday night or Monday night football
Monday. It
when
was
the
Monday.
Broncos were playing, but that was a crazy game because the Broncos were sucking like they always do the first three quarters, and then all of a
Then they
sudden,
went up.
quarter
Yep.
Bum shows up and somehow wins you the game. So that was pretty crazy. But yeah, Chewy's got a very strong team right now.
Yeah, and then I mean, Jonathan Taylor's been the best back. I don't know. Now probably CMAC is the number one, but CMAC was like the fifth pick, and Jonathan Taylor was the 16th overall. I wouldn't say. I mean, I chose Achan, I think, over him, or pick before him, which I'm not regretting by any means, but that's just been just a great pick, and having him as an RB1, and then his wide receivers are, I think, probably two top five wide receivers this year, and um, yeah, Jackson Smith and Jigba has been probably one of the best. Him and Egbuka that you have are probably the best two picks out of it all. Egbuka's probably been the better pick just because you got him in the seventh or sixth round a little earlier, or a little later. But yeah, Chewy's team just hasn't missed. Kyler Murray has been pretty bad. Well, not pretty bad, but not great. Pretty bad.
Inconsistent to say the
Yeah,
least. Yeah.
yeah, and it's still a really good team. So Chewy's team. I mean, if you look at our side of the standings, we have really good teams and then really bad teams. With Rudy being the only uh, team without a loss or without a win, that is. And he's had some questionable trade. We'll go through the trades, and I really want to hear your opinion on his trade that he did because it was an odd one for an 0-4 team. But before we get to the trades, we'll kind of just go through the points. We said already Chewy has been the best team by a large margin. And then we have three teams that are in the 628s, which is kind of crazy,
That
with
is
you
kind of
being one of
crazy.
them. And Dom's team is sneakily up there. Puka has been a really good wide receiver for and he's kind of had busts all over the place with Brian Thomas Jr. I'm sorry. I guess that's the only real bust that he's had because Garrett Wilson's has been surprisingly good. But this is actually a scary team. I actually really like Dom's team. I don't know why he's got some of these starts. Maybe he's just kind of doing that for now. But Dom's team is the
Yeah,
best
Dom
team, I
has been
think, in
on
the other
tear.
division. Yeah, he's been on a tear. And you know what? I've been doing a lot of trades. Well, just looking at a lot of people's teams this over the past week, and I was the hypest out of anybody on this team. And if you look at James's team, it's pretty disgustingly good. Javonte Williams is really good. Quinshon Judkins is the lead back in Cleveland, and he's got Bijan in his flex. His wide receivers could use a little work, but Debo's been really good, and he's got Ladd that he traded from Jeff, and then Rico down here got a 32 ball without Hubbard playing. I mean, this team, I still think is the best team in the league. I think I would take this team over Chewy's team. I think.
Yeah, this is definitely a good team. I don't think his record quite speaks to how good it looks, certainly on paper. I mean, the fact I don't know if he's just trolling. I don't why he has Bijan in the flex spot right now.
He had a bye last week,
That looks
but
kind of funny. But yeah, no, James has a very good team. I think he's up there in that 628 range with
yep.
us. Yeah. And you know what? Let's just kind of continue on the surprising team train. I think Johnny's team has been somewhat surprising. I mean, I don't think we were super high or super low on his that I can remember, but he's had a pretty good season. 3-2. Definitely not a bad record there, but he's up there with the points. And, back to Rudy's team, I think we were pretty high on Rudy's team coming out of the draft, too. And this guy is just on a terrible skid. Can we go to the points against, though? Because I think he's just been getting lit up.
Yes. Yep,
Yeah,
down here.
he has just been getting lit up. I'm pretty sure that he put up like 120 or something versus me, and I dropped like a 140 on him that week or something like that. So he's had some pretty tough luck on his games, and he has just been getting in there with the big dogs.
Yeah, loses by 5 to Dom. I destroy him with a 145. Ryan destroys him with a 150 almost. Nick beats him 125. I mean, he's seen, 120s or up. And then,
James put up
James.
150. He's just been getting points dropped on his dome piece, dude.
Yeah, your game was a really good game. He probably should have beat everybody in the league, probably except you, or at least probably had a top three score.
Yeah, losing with a
Yeah, sometimes that's how it
135
goes, though.
is one of those. We talk about stuff like that every year. Like when you put up like 130, especially like you would expect to win. That's a tough one to lose. I was very happy that my team went off that day.
Yeah, I mean, Rudy's team's not bad. We'll get through that, but yeah, division record. No, this really doesn't matter anymore since we made the adjustment to head to head and points. Home doesn't really matter, way all that good stuff. But funny enough, I only have 8 moves, but if you actually we'll take a peek at Johnny's team. But Johnny has 4 moves this year, and you can see
Not even a move a week.
this guy is just, I don't know what he does. He's got 2 IR people not on the IR, and he's got a couple questionables that were out last week. I mean, this guy drafts his team and dies with his team, and he's 3-2, and he's actually doing well.
Yeah, I think I made the joke in our group chat the other day. Like this guy just throws his guys in and closes the app until Monday and then just doesn't look at it again until he has to take some people out for bye weeks. Like he just doesn't care.
He
He's
just,
like the definition of I'm about to throw it up and someone will be out there to catch it. Like just that type of energy on his fantasy football team.
yeah, it's crazy, and he's successful, and he's always been like that. But I don't think he's seen as many injuries as he has this year, of course, or like for sure. And he's still living and dying by it. It's pretty
You
crazy.
gotta respect it at a certain point.
You do. And since he's winning, you can't really say anything about it either because it's just like, oh my goodness. But okay, so we will talk about trades. Let's talk about the trades. We'll talk about the earliest trade first. And a trade that kind of went under the radar that I don't even think our group chat really talked about this when this actually happened. And Jeff's in our group chat, which is kind of crazy. It did happen pretty late, and I think we just didn't really talk about it. But it was DeAndre Swift for Ladd McConkey. And I think pretty even trade. Even like looking back at it now, Ladd hasn't really done what he was drafted to do. I think he was a 3rd-round pick. So I think this was probably a good trade, 2nd-round pick actually, for Jeff,
Wow.
who needed RB help, and James, who had a lot of RBs. I think even like 2 weeks after this trade has happened, I think this has been a pretty good, fair trade. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think this trade honestly made sense. I know Jeff was in some running back trouble after, I think it was week 1 or 2. And like you said, Ladd wasn't doing a whole lot. But I think the other part of this that makes a lot of sense for Jeff is he has Quentin Johnston. So
Yeah.
it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to have both of them. And Quentin Johnston's having a career year. At least he was through the first 4 weeks, had a rough week last week. And funny enough, Ladd got a touchdown. But at the time of this trade, like I think this makes a lot of sense for Jeff. He got a running back. DeAndre Swift's not the best, but Ladd wasn't doing well, and he's got Quentin on his team. So yeah, like you said, pretty fair trade. I think it made a lot of sense for both teams here, and honestly, probably down the stretch is going to make James's team a lot more scary, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean Chargers. I really want to stay away from Chargers people because just so many injuries on that team. But DeAndre Swift, like I was just looking, like he's getting his carries and his receptions. He's getting like 15, 16 touches a game, which is really good for an RB2. I think Jeff has him as his flex right now, which is even better. And then Ladd, I mean, yeah, just not. I mean, he's getting the targets, just not really getting the yards and the touchdowns, like you said, touchdown last week. But
Not
we'll see.
not for a second round pick. Those are not second round pick
Right.
numbers right there.
Right. And Swift was a 6th-round pick, maybe 5th round, and that's probably where Ladd would have went with those type of numbers. And it's always funny to see guys and like talk to guys with trading. I don't just how I mean everyone does it, so it's not like a knack. I do it too. But just overvalue a guy like Ladd McConkey who was a 2nd-round pick. But if you're not getting like the value, you're not going to get a 2nd-round value pick for him. So I think Jeff was really a lot of people wouldn't do this trade, I don't think, but people see why Jeff did it. It's kind of hard to explain, but it would be easy for Jeff to like not trade Ladd and just say, "Oh, he's a second round pick. Give me, Devon Achane or something like that." It's like, no, dude, you got to kind of.
Yeah,
He's not.
you
He's
gotta,
not that good.
if you're doing it in the middle of the season, the draft round almost does not matter anymore. It's current value.
Right.
Like, what have they been doing for however many weeks? And yeah, I think at the time that this happened, this is a pretty fair trade. And again, too, like Jeff had the other Chargers receiver that was actually doing something. So I think
Doing
it makes
better.
a lot of sense for both.
Yeah, and I think Quentin Johnson was a waiver pick, like week 1 or week 2. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, he
so
was
yeah,
not projected to have the season that he's started with. Again, like he had a rough week last week, but he's been really good. So we'll see how it plays out. But I think yeah, pretty fair trade here.
yeah, I agree, and I don't think we talked about it just because of I think it was just like, oh, that's a good deal for both. So
Yeah, good
um,
spot.
we'll go to the next trade that happened literally a week ago. It was Nick and I's trade. Um, he gave me Pacheco, T. Higgins, and Nico Collins. And then I gave him Jerry Judy, Chuba Hubbard, and Nick Chubb. How do you feel about this trade? Thoughts and
Uh,
thoughts on
Not quite as even, I think, as the last one that we just went through. I think you definitely came out ahead on this. I don't think it was like a total fleece by any means. I think Nick got some value. I think you got some value, but I think you got significantly more value than he did. I mean, Nico Collins is one of the top receivers in the league. He's looked really good this year. T. Higgins has been kind of ass, but he's got a new quarterback now, so we'll see how that plays out. And I'm sure you did that with the foresight of like Joe Burrow hopefully coming back around playoff time. Maybe that could be a big thing for T. Higgins. And then Isaiah Pacheco. I mean, he is still the starting back in Kansas City, albeit kind of a committee there. But really, the Nico Collins there, I think, gives you the big value. Whereas you were kind of giving him like Chuba Hubbard, probably the best guy that he got here, starting running back for Carolina. But funny enough, he didn't even play the first week that Nick had him. I know he wasn't injured when you guys made this trade, but Jerry Judy and Nick Chubb kind of. I don't want to say throwaway pieces, but like those aren't big name value guys, especially like Nick Chubb's kind of in a committee backfield and Jerry Judy's on the Browns. So yeah, I think you definitely came out ahead here, but I certainly wouldn't call this like a total like fleece. I just think that you won this trade.
Yeah, it's funny because Chuba and Nico were actually questionable. Well, they didn't have injury tags when we made the trade, and then I think Wednesday night or Wednesday at like 5 or 6, both of them were hit with questionable tags. So it was actually kind of funny. Like, oh my god, like that was pretty weird that happened. But luckily for me, Nico played and Chuba didn't. But Nick Chubb, I mean, I wouldn't call him a throwaway piece. I know Woody
RB
Marks had that
33.
really good game 2 weeks ago, but he actually was really bad last week as well. And I mean, I would say Nick Chubb's like a flex play. He's not an RB2, but he's a good flex guy that will get you, he's going to touch the football. Um, he's got value for a running back because, I mean, as we've seen, running backs are really hard to come by, really hard to trade. People really overvalue that position, and you could probably attest to people hogging running backs. Labasi definitely can, trying to trade his people away. Like, just people love to hold on to their running backs just because of injuries, and injuries happen all the time. So I think he's got some value. Jerry Judy, I think, was more of a that guy.
That offense is just bad. Like Jerry
It's so
Judy,
bad.
he hasn't really been super relevant since he's been on the Browns. I mean, like
No.
he'll have a week here or there that's pretty good. We'll see how he does now with Dylan Gabriel starting moving forward. But yeah, I mean, you could probably put Isaiah Pacheco and Nick Chubb in kind of the same tier. I would
Right.
say.
Yeah.
T. Higgins, I would put above Jerry Judy, even with his quarterback problems. I mean, T. Higgins, I think, is still more relevant receiver wise, not by a ton, but definitely better. But then Nico Collins, I mean, just clears all of it. So that's kind of the way that I try and like break down some of these trades when
Mhm.
I'm looking at the value that people are getting. And I just think, yeah, he's going to be good.
Yeah, Nico hasn't actually been that. I mean, he was a first round pick. I think he was the 11th pick. He hasn't been like a first round pick wide receiver. He's kind of inconsistent, had a pretty good game target wise in the third week, but not getting really a lot of the receptions, and the yards have kind of been down since years past. But there's a lot of, I mean, I wouldn't say Nick like was low on Nico or something like that, but Nico really hasn't performed like an 11th pick would. And you can say the same thing about Brian Thomas from Dom's team. He was another first round pick. Those guys just haven't really panned out, but they have the ceiling to really catapult my team now for at least Nico. I mean, Nico
Right.
could get a 8 catch, 150-yard, 2 touchdown game just like that.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, also like the Texans started pretty slow. Their offense looked pretty dog shit, honestly, like the first week,
right.
first couple weeks. But Nico's target share is solid. Like he's clear number one in that offense. CJ Stroud's getting a little better as the year goes on. So no, like I said, I don't think this was like a runaway, like you totally boned Nick on this. I think you won this trade.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Nick would agree with that too. But when Hubbard comes back, I think Nick's team is good. It's so unfortunate that Hubbard actually just didn't play, and I don't think he's going to play this week either. So it's very unfortunate that this trade happened like this. Because usually when I trade with somebody, I don't want to like kill them. Like I don't want them. I mean, if I do kill them, cool. But like an injury like that just makes me feel kind of like, oh man, that kind of sucks. I wish Nick.
Yeah,
I
well, the
wish
other
for
part of
the
that
best.
too now is Rico Dowdle came in here and looked like a freaking Barry
Right.
Sanders first ballot Hall of Famer last week. So now if he starts again and does something similar, he won't do as good, but if he does something similar, like, I mean, when Chuba comes back, it's going to be a split backfield now. Like, so that there's that.
Yes. So it's funny because like I feel like I got rid of him at the like literally the most perfect time, but I also hope that he does well for Nick as well because I think Nick's team is in need of that RB2, and his team is pretty good if he gets that if Chuba gets going. But yeah, so that was an interesting trade. We'll go to another interesting trade, and I think at the time of this trade, Chris was 1-3 and Rudy was 0-4. So Chris gets CD Lamb. No, wait. No, Chris trades. So Rudy gets CD Lamb, Baker Mayfield, James Cook, and Jameson Williams. And Chris gets Waddle, Montgomery, Caleb Williams, and Justin Jefferson. So this is a very interesting trade for Rudy, who gets CD Lamb and puts him on the IR for the next 2 or 3 weeks when he's 0-4. So I don't get that part. I don't know what Rudy was thinking when he made this trade. It's not a bad trade, don't get me wrong, but being 0-4 and trading a guy like Justin Jefferson, who has been really good with bad quarterback play, for a guy who's just not even playing, is so it's weird. I don't know how else to explain this trade, but it's weird, and I
Yeah.
don't know what Rudy was thinking.
I think even crazier than that is he also gave up Jalen Waddle, who at the same, I'm pretty sure Tyreek Hill had already been hurt at this point. So we already knew Jalen Waddle was stepping
Yeah,
into wide receiver one. So he gave up Jefferson and Waddle at the same time, and in return, only got one receiver, and that's a guy that's on the IR. Like, or I don't think he's on the IR, but he's hurt and he's going to be out for at least a couple more weeks. Like, that is pretty crazy because like face value, you look at this and like take injuries aside, this is honestly like probably a pretty close fair trade. Honestly, it's hard because like James Cook has been on a tear this year outside of this past week.
yeah,
So getting CeeDee Lamb and James Cook in the same trade, pretty honestly, like you look at that and you're like, wow, that's awesome. But then you take into consideration CeeDee Lamb being out, and it's like, wow, yeah, at 0-4, you can't really afford to just wipe out your
right.
receiver room, which is basically what you did there for at least 2 weeks. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and he had Justin Jefferson, and it's funny enough. I mean, Justin Jefferson did well. David Montgomery got like 2 touchdowns, I think, or he threw a touchdown. I think ran for a touchdown, and Waddle just went crazy. Um, and I don't know if Rudy played. I don't know who Rudy played last week, but I guarantee Rudy would have won last week if he kept these 4 players because, like you said, Cook I think got like 5 points. CeeDee Lamb got 0, and
We know that for sure.
Jameson got like one catch for like 8 yards,
And he did
9 yards.
start him, by the way. He had
Yeah, so it's just like I think I really want to look at this now. If Rudy stayed pat there, he would have got his first win. And for a team that's 0-4, I mean, you're fighting for wins
nope,
now.
nope, he
Oh
wouldn't
nope,
have.
yeah, he got destroyed.
Yep,
He
wouldn't have
got
mattered.
destroyed.
Wouldn't have
It
mattered. All
wouldn't
right,
matter.
so back to maybe okay trade.
But still, it's still a weird trade because you're not going to know if you're going to win or like get killed like that before you make this trade. But still, I still don't understand um, the reasoning for it. It's just I don't know. It's an odd trade. Like we were talking about, like I know you and Chris almost made a trade for CeeDee Lamb, and it's like you can afford to wait for CeeDee Lamb, and Rudy cannot. I mean, that guy's 0-5 now. He was 0-4 before the trade or at the trade. Like he needs wins, and he needs wins fast. And when he gets a healthy CeeDee Lamb, his team's going to be really good. But he's going to be like 0-8.
Yeah,
what's
that's going to be
what's the
tough.
point?
Like, I think CeeDee Lamb he's questionable for this week. So if he does, he might not play this week, but I bet he'll be back at least by next week. But nonetheless, I mean, the
Yeah.
sentiment still stands. Like the logic behind this is a little questionable for Rudy being 0-4, and like I said, basically wiping out his entire receiving room for at least 2 weeks it's a head scratcher. Hopefully, he can scrap up a win this week to make up for it. But like all in all, like I said, like on paper, this looks like a fairly even trade. Like I can't say one way or another like who honestly like who wins this. But when you take injuries into account, Chris wins this trade.
Yeah, I agree. I think Chris does win the trade. I think just getting Waddle and Jefferson, but it's kind of like yeah, I think it's more even trade. But like when you do see that CD, because James Cook get is a really good get, and Rudy has Kyron, Henry, and James Cook now, so he has a really good running back room, especially when Lamar comes back. Derrick Henry will probably be more back to normal. Um, but that's
But
a
also,
scary running back room.
as soon as Chris trades James Cook, he has a down week. So how crazy would it be if James Cook just like doesn't do that anymore? Like Chris would look like a freaking genius.
Looked like a genius because yeah, he only got like 5 points. They weren't really. I guess they were doing. He had 15 carries. He wasn't running that well. He didn't get any catches either, which is crazy. That's like one of the best players on that team. Well, pass catchers and playmakers, except for Josh Allen. But yeah, just it's a weird trade. Both teams were kind of down. I think it was smart on Chris to try to get rid of CD because he needed wins, and he did get a win against you actually last week. So it actually
That's
kind
the
of
freaking
worked for him. I think if he keeps his team, he definitely loses to you. I haven't ran the numbers yet, but he doesn't have Waddle or Jefferson or Montgomery who went off against you. Um, so yeah, very interesting trade. Good for Chris so far, but if Rudy can somehow squeak in a win or two without CD the next couple weeks, his team will be looking very good as well. So this will be an interesting see in another 2 or 3 weeks. But
Yeah, I
we'll
think
go
all
to
in
the
all,
last.
once everyone's healthy, both of those teams got better from that one. And we have
Yes, I agree with
minutes,
that.
by the way.
3 minutes. Um, yeah, we'll probably just stop. Can we stop here and then just like go in?
And just do another one.
Yeah, I mean we got two more trades to look at.
Yeah.
Okay,
Brief
this one
intermission.
we'll talk about this one a lot.
All right, we are back after a little brief intermission there. Just wrapping up on Rudy and Chris's trade, going now into you and Lubasi's trade from, I think, not even 10 hours ago.
Yeah, it was probably no, it was 12 hours ago
12
now.
hours ago.
Yeah. So another 12 hours until I get my players, which include Josh Allen, Sam Laporta, and I don't know how to say this guy's name, but Tutton. I just call him Tutton. And I gave up Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, and the Eagles defense, which is a sneaky defense for the next 3 weeks. who has the Giants, Minnesota, and the Giants. Who Lubasi does not have a defense, by the way, so that was a good get from him. But I will bring it to you.
No.
How
Actually, no. Hold on. I'm gonna get my time on this, but I want to start with you. I want your honest opinion here. I don't want any BS about trying to spin it however you gotta spin it. I want your honest opinion here on how you feel about what you got in this
so,
trade.
so there's a couple of facts that I want to get to first. Lubasi tried to trade Josh Allen the last 2 weeks and never got anything of value that he saw. Well, this was last week when Hampton was not injured. So then Hampton comes in injured this week or last week. So now he's in a scurry. He's kind of freaking out because let's just look at his team. I feel like this needs to be kind of analyzed a little bit more. He has no RB. His RB2 would have been Justice Hill. I think he had Justice Hill in his RB2 spot before this trade. So I mean, he has nobody. He didn't pick up anybody in the waivers. He picked up the Raiders D actually, which was pretty funny. He actually picked up the Cardinals D. Or he
I
had
think he's had the Cardinals D.
Oh, did he? Okay, I thought he dropped the Cardinals D for the Raiders D. Anyway, so his team is just not looking good right now. And well, it's just his running backs really aren't looking the best. So and he really wanted to get rid of Josh Allen. Dang, I hate that I have to keep doing this. He really wanted to get rid of Josh Allen before any of this happened because he likes Justin Fields. And Justin Fields has been really good.
Yes.
When he's played the whole game. But back to your question. Or your question. I think I won this trade. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I win this trade. Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the league. Sam Laporta, I think, is tight end 7 right now.
He is.
Yeah, tight end 7. But he's a really good tight end who's having a good, not a breakout year because last year he didn't have a really good year, but he's kind of doing really good this year or doing better this year. And then Tartan was just kind of a throw in for a committee back with Walker and Charbonnet and a really good defense for the next 3 weeks at least. But they're a solid defense. I definitely win the trade. There's no question about that. But I'm not going to say what other trades Lubasi had for Josh Allen, but this one gave him the best value that people were offering him, which I think is an important factor because, yeah, you can say Josh Allen is the best quarterback and he probably should have gotten more for him, but the league just did not value Josh Allen as much as Lubasi, I think, anticipated. So he had to kind of stoop down and get
He
what he
settled.
kind of
So
he had to settle.
Settle.
He had to settle, and he settled with this trade, which gives him a RB2 and a good defense.
I'll tell you what it gives him. It gives him headaches every week because he's got the 2 Seahawks running backs that basically split carries. I don't know if you watched the Seahawks game last week, but I almost thought Kenneth Walker wasn't even on the team anymore because this dude was not. I'm pretty sure they had like 2 straight drives of all passes. Like they were just not running the ball. And then when it comes time for the touchdown, who gets it? Charbonnet. Like this, what I feel like he just got is headaches. I agree. Kenneth Walker is a great running back, and if it weren't for Zach Charbonnet, this is probably a fantastic move. This is RB 19, right? RB 19, yeah. RB 19 with his committee partner, which is great to have. If one of them goes down, immediate RB1, lock it in starter, no problem. I get that. But he just gave up the QB1, tight end 7. Tootin doesn't really matter. But QB1 and tight end 7 for a committee backfield that is going to be headaches unless one of these guys get injured. I can't wrap my head around this. I think you ran away with this one. I talked about you and Nick's trade. I think you won that one, but I said you didn't like run away with it. This one, I think you ran away with this one. And please, anyone else, feel free to combat me on that opinion. But as soon as I saw this, my face, I I was just like, what are we doing?
So, so like RB19, I get that thing, but when you think of quarterback one and tight end seven, every single team only gets one of those positions. So you're fighting 12 spots on those positions. Whereas running backs, you have to at least have two. And some
True.
people have three with the flex. So really, like if you think of it, position 19 or like 19th running
He's
back in the
technically
league
in the
is an
RB2.
RB2.
Yeah.
Right. Which is what was I mean that was just the value he was getting for Josh Allen. I know one of his other trades. I really didn't want to talk about the other trades, but the other trade he was really wanting to do. Hopefully, the boss is cool with me saying this. Was with Chewy.
Guess we'll find out.
Well, it was with Chewy, and it was for J.K. Dobbins. So J.K. Dobbins is another RB2. He's on the higher end of an RB2 with 13. So I think that's just the value he was getting. And I think the Josh Allen for JK was just going to be a straight flop or a straight swap. But I think Chewy got cold feet, is from my understanding. So even that kind of, I don't know. I think Lubasi just thought he needed to make a move. And
I don't think I like I did harp on the RB19 part, and I do still think that's somewhat important because you're giving up two top 10 guys at their position. You made a great point, though we only can start one of those two guys. But just the fact of what that Seahawks backfield is, I think is the bigger point that
yeah,
I just this would not be the RB2 that I would want because I have this in another league and it's headaches every week. It's just headaches of like you have to start Ken Walker. Like you're not going to start Charbonnet. But
yeah,
Charbonnet is the one who's always getting the fucking touchdowns and it's so frustrating. And then like I said too, like last week the Seahawks went on like 12 straight or 15 straight plays of passes. Like they just weren't running the ball. It's like, where's Kenneth Walker?
mhm,
So it's not it I think the RB19 part is important, but it's more so of like the backfield that he just got. Like it's again, it's great that he got both because if one goes down, that other guy gets vaulted into almost RB1 category, which is great. And if that happens, then I think he'll be okay. But like having both of them healthy is nothing but headaches.
yeah. And I mean, I like Kenneth Walker's the better back, and I showed the touchdowns. He got his two touchdown game when Charbonnet didn't play, and he also got one when Charbonnet did play. But Charbonnet has gotten a touchdown every single game except that Pittsburgh game where he just did really bad, 15 carries for 10 yards. So they were probably just riding the hot hand with Kenneth Walker. But Kenneth Walker will literally get 50 yards of running in one drive and they'll take it to the 3 yard line, and Charbonnet will get the touchdown.
I think
Um,
Kenneth Walker has, when both of these guys are healthy, Kenneth Walker has a great floor. I think he's a fine RB2, but his
yeah,
ceiling is definitely capped with Charbonnet healthy in that backfield.
no, I agree, and I think they're definitely top 10 guys if one goes down. And I never want to root for an injury, but Charbonnet and Walker really haven't had healthy full seasons, especially Kenneth Walker. He's actually been hurt kind of a lot prior to this year so far. Um, and because I had this same duo last year, and Walker I think got hurt the last like 6 or 8 weeks of the season, and yeah, Charbonnet was number one running back, not the number one running back, but he was a top 10, top 12 at least for our sake, 12 top 12 running back in the league. Just I just didn't have a good team at the end of the season last year, but
Yeah.
I don't
I
know. I Lubasi this trade I think it had to do with him wanting slash needing to make a move and the value people were giving him. Because I said this earlier in the podcast, like people and running backs and just teams are like our league and running backs are are stingy. Like
oh,
they do
I
not
agree.
like to give people running backs, and Lubasi needed a running back, and nobody was willing to give him a top 12 running back. for Josh Allen, which probably Josh Allen deserves a top 12 running back. Just people weren't giving it to him. It's as easy
Yeah,
as
I
that.
mean, I do agree with that, but there's also the other side of it of like he could have just rolled with one bad spot in his lineup. Like, okay, his RB2. I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing. Like, granted, I only put up like 110 last week or 109,
Right.
but you roll with that for a little while, and like if you, I guess he was probably in a little bit more of a desperate situation than me, but
He's
yeah,
two
it
and
just
three.
feels like he gave up. I just look at this and feel like he gave up so much value for not as much value in return. And I don't know. We'll see how he believes a lot in Justin Fields, and I apparently believes a lot in Darren Waller. So if those two guys pan out, then I'll come back on here and say that I was wrong. But first in instinct, looking at this trade, I'm like, I think you ran away with it.
Yeah, because it's easy. Because even if we go to Nick's team, because this was my main argument or point when I was talking to Nick. Nick had a lot of good wide receivers. So he has Devontae Smith, Keenan Allen, Jacoby Myers, Shakir, and he
He
did
had
have
Nico.
Nico. But my thing with his running backs is he had Josh Jacobs and Pacheco, basically, I think was his RB2, and then Jalen Warren's on the bench. He was on the IR when this trade was happened. But I basically told them what's easier to fill. Would it be a Nico list wide receiving room or an RB2 that you had Jalen Warren out for however long people didn't know at the time, and Isaiah Pacheco. So that was kind of my main argument that hey, Chuba will play. He's an RB2. Of course, he got hurt, so he didn't play. But I think before his injury, he was like I think a top 20 at least, maybe 22 back. But that position ranking is because he missed a week, of course. So that was kind of my main argument with Nick, and I kind of turned that same argument to Ubasi, where hey, what's easier to fill? Would it be your quarterback and tight end, or would it be your running back? And like you said, he has faith in Fields and Waller, and
Who's
he
now
agreed, I guess, with
questionable.
me. Who's not questionable? That'd be kind of estimated time. That'd be kind of crazy. But Waller's been balling out. Like he's getting the red zone
Yes.
targets.
He
I
has.
wouldn't trust him,
The
but
guy came out of retirement, got on the Dolphins at the right time because his first game was the one where Tyreek went down,
right.
and he's done really well. And again, if Lubasi has faith that he's going to consistently do that and finish as a top five tight end, everything I'm saying doesn't really matter. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I think you ran away with that trade. When Omari Hampton comes back, his team will be good still. It'll be fine. But just like looking at that trade on paper, I was just like, wow, that's the number one quarterback right there. And like a tight end, like tight ends are hard to come by in this league too, because that position sucks donkey balls.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think he gave up a lot of value and for headaches. A lot of value for
Yeah,
headaches. That's the tagline for this.
right. We'll see though, because yeah, if he can go 2-2 the next 4 weeks, you put Hampton in this flex, and you have Saquon, Kenneth Walker, Hampton, and then I really still love these two wide receivers and they're doing Zane Worthy.
Yeah,
Um,
those are great guys. We'll see how Worthy looks when Rice comes back, but
that's
that
very
is
true
coming
as
up
well.
too.
That is, but yeah, this team is really good. Yeah, but like you said, quarterback and tight end. If these guys ball out, this team will be scary. And if they don't pan out, well, Lubasi. I mean, it's like I said. I think I told the other person I traded with today, but we'll get into. It's all about risk reward. And do you think your team can fight through the storm, or do you have to make a change? And Lubasi just thought he had to make a change, and he even wanted to make a change last week with Josh Allen anyway. I think this just kind of pushed him to even do it quicker. I guess I don't want to say, yeah, I think quicker maybe would be a good word, but
I
yeah,
think
we'll see
ultimately
how
what
it
made
works out.
me the most mad about this, I think, probably like subconsciously, is that it was you. And we talked about this earlier today. Like, I just feel like both him and Nick just made your team so much better after your team was kind of like down and out after neighbors
It
went
was
down. And if he just handed you another ring, like we're talking pure speculation here. This is a
right.
long way down the line. But if these end up giving you another ring, I'm holding Lubasi personally liable and we will have beef.
Well, you got to think like because I remember I did the same. I did a really big trade like this 2 or 3 years ago with Jimmy for Christian McCaffrey, and everyone kind of freaked out about it. And he
Well, he
literally
got
got hurt
hurt.
the next week. Right.
Yeah,
I'm just saying he got hurt the next week. So like you never know about trades. Like somebody can get hurt or somebody could just not do as good as people think. It's
right.
all crapshoot. So
Right. Well, okay. All this reaction is all just face value here of what we're
right,
looking at. Obviously, people can always get hurt. Josh Allen can get hurt next week, and this, like,
right,
then Lubasi, like I said with Chris earlier, Lubasi looks like a genius if that
yeah,
happens. But like, well, we can't speculate on that yet. But yeah, just face value on that trade. All in all, I think you ran away with that one. But again, we will see. If Fields and Waller ball out, then I will stand corrected.
yeah. And to make it not, I think Lubasi would actually say the same thing. I think Lubasi would say that I won the trade, but it's a risk that he's willing to take to try to get sneak into the playoffs or just have better luck in the next couple weeks to win some games. I don't think Lubasi thinks he won this trade. I guess I never really asked him, and you really never asked him in the group chat either.
Was too
But
busy
I think
being
he would
mad.
say that. I think he would say that he won or that I won, but he needed to make a move. I think that's what he would say.
Yeah. Well, all in all, we'll see how it pans out. I've said my piece on it, but again, I can't see you win again. I just can't. I will. I cannot. I cannot see you win again.
I do win again. And we'll see. I hope I do. But I do want to make another trade discussion. I before this podcast, I cannot. Me and Jeff. I actually traded with Jeff. Can't do the trade until I get Laporta, and so I actually flipped Laporta, which is interesting. That this was probably an avenue that Lubasi could have done. Um, but I actually did flip Laporta with Jeff. The trade, which we'll go through tomorrow when I get Laporta, was he is giving me Hawkinson and Ramondre Stevenson, and I am giving him Laporta and Pacheco. So I think this is a pretty even trade, and I think this helps Jeff actually a little bit more than I. Well, it helps me too because I'm my running back two. It's hard to like see this with not my full team with Lubasi's trade, but my running back two would be either Vidal or Pacheco. And that kind of made me a little nervous. And I'm really high on David Njoku. I think him and Dylan Gabriel looked really good together. I think he'll be a top 12 tight end the rest of the way with Dylan Gabriel or maybe Sanders if he comes out shooting or if he comes out at some point this year. So I think I was okay with sticking with the Njoku and getting a RB2 in Ramondre. I know Ramondre comes with some risk with the fumbles and maybe getting taken over by Travion Henderson, but I think I'm willing to take that risk. And Jeff doesn't lose a starter, and he adds a tight end that he's been complaining about like the last 3 or 4 weeks. How do you feel about this trade? It's hard to kind of
Um,
visualize it, but try to, I guess.
yeah, I don't really see like this one's not nearly as like blockbuster. We're not talking top five guys at all or like big names by any
Right.
means, like RBs and tight. It is Laporta, I guess, he is a solid tight end, but yeah, I don't think this is kind of a pretty even trade, I think both ways. So I don't I don't have a lot to say either way. I think that's yeah, you guys are both basically just swapping pieces that you need on that one.
Yeah, I think this helps Jeff just because like Jeff's 1-4 and he needs wins yesterday. So my thing was with Jeff to try to get him to do because he actually originally said no or like he'll think about it or something like that. And I said, okay, well, you need wins, and you're not giving up a starter at all, like in his week versus Rudy, and you're getting a way better tight end. I mean, Goddard isn't like terrible, like position 9. He's had consistency, but Laporta can give you that big week like he did last week, and you're just trying to win. So then he kind of thought about it and he accepted it like 3-4 hours ago. So and that gives me an RB2. So just looking at my team, I'm thinking like Kenneth Walker and Ramondre Stevens kind of in the same situation. I think Kenneth Walker is definitely the better back, but my team basically stays the same. Just swap out Ramondre, and then I get basically Josh Allen for free in my mind.
Unbelievable.
So,
I'm not going to get back into that one, but yeah, I
and I
think
got Nico on the bench on a bye.
yours and Jeff's trade pretty even. Not really a lot of fireworks on that one, so
No,
probably don't have to dig as far into that as the last one. But
right. So, but
you've pretty much been like one of the only people on the move here. Just I feel like all those trades except for one were with you.
right, and I think I told you this. Like once Neighbors went down, I feel like I'm playing with some house money. I lost my first round pick, like the eighth pick or whatever it was, and I'm just saying, like, fuck it, just let's keep going, just let's keep trading people.
Let's just
Like I
keep
don't like
selling the
trading that
team.
much. I really don't like trading that much because I like the team I drafted. I drafted them for a reason, but I don't know. Just this year, I'm like, okay, let's trade. Like I've talked to I think every single person in this league, except maybe 2 people about trades the last 2 weeks, and a lot of people are hard to trade with. Let me tell you,
Believe me, I know.
it's
I
crazy.
know.
You got to
I've
come
had
in
some
with some,
conversations myself, and they have not panned out.
yeah.
I'm
So
also in a place where I could probably use one, but at the end of the day, I'm not. See, I don't feel like I have to settle right now, so I'm not going to take somebody's bullshit if they're
right,
trying to snake me on some dumb shit. Like, just like, all right, never mind. We don't even have to do this. So,
right. I mean, you're 4-1, so you don't have to. And when Bucky comes back, your team is pretty well rounded. So you got to weather the storm. Every championship team has adversity. So
it's
my
never going to be a perfect
adversity,
season.
no, my adversity was Neighbors dying, basically in fantasy terms, and the team has been lifted, and we're excited. We're excited for this Sunday, even though Nico's on a bye, but that's okay. I'm excited to see Josh Allen play and not go against him. I've never had Josh Allen, so be fun.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome having the best guy at a certain position. It's I've been rolling with that Trey McBride pick all year, having tight end one and like never having to worry about tight end. Like I feel like I'm
Right.
always streaming tight ends every year, and it's awful. But yeah, it's pretty great to have that. But I think we can probably wrap this up here. Just I think lastly, maybe just kind of recap where we're at here in the standings. A couple teams we haven't talked about much. We got Jimmy here at 2-3. Not having the greatest season, so obviously one of those teams that really needs to turn it around. I think Chris got a win after his trip. Oh yeah, he beat me. Duh. He's sitting at 2-3. A couple of guys down there at the bottom of that division looking to turn things around. Lubasi, obviously, we talked a lot about his team. But I think overall, like looking at these, like I really do think our division still kind of stands looking the best, even though we got some scrubs at the bottom. We got Rudy at
Yo,
1-5, who obviously looking for his first win. Also, I think a fun little mental game to play here. Will Rudy beat Ubasi's win record last year of 2 games to stay away from the record or away from the title of worst record of all time? Ubasi set that last year with his 2-win season. Rudy starting out 0-5 might be on his way. Um, I don't know.
yeah, let's see. Let's see if we can guess his first win before we get out. Um,
It's always fun to
here's
play this game.
I think Jeff beats him. I feel like Jeff's team is still like it's not a 1-4 team. It's definitely like a 2-3, 3-2 team. I think his team is good.
I think a big thing
Um,
there with Jeff's team, Jamar Chase just got Joe Flacco. Like Jake
yep.
Browning has been nothing but dog shit for that Bengals offense. So getting Joe Flacco in there, he's a veteran. He's not that good, but he knows how to throw the ball. So I think
He
Jamar
does.
Chase is definitely going to be back to his wide receiver one status, which helps Jeff tremendously. Um,
Yeah.
Chris, Chris's team's gotten a lot better, I think, with the big trade that he made with Rudy. So I think Chris probably wins that game. I really don't think, and we're not. I don't want to get into all these to look at buys, but like just looking at the team, that I don't think he's going to beat Chewy. Uh,
I think he beats Chris. I'm gonna say he beats Chris.
that's going to be a good game because CeeDee
That's
Lamb
that's the
might be
game with the
back.
trade.
CeeDee
Yeah.
Lamb might be back, and you're going to see that big trade that they made together go head to head.
Yes.
That's going to be a fun game. I'm going to say though, for the sake of this, Chris ekes that out because then I think Chewy wins. I think Lubasi, he'll probably have Hampton back by week 9 if he only is out for those 4 weeks for IR.
Well, that'd be the
So
fourth week.
assuming that Hampton comes back, I think Lubasi wins that game. And then he gets to Jimmy. That's the game. I think that's where he maybe has his shot to get his first win, which is week 10.
That would be. I think. No, I think Hampton's not. Hampton would come back week 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, four, he'd be out 4 games for sure. So 6, 7, 8. So 9. So yeah.
Oh,
So
okay,
Lubasi
I
would
was
still be
counting week
away.
5 as his first week.
I
Okay,
don't think
so
that's
no
how they
Hampton.
do it.
Okay, so maybe he could squeak by Lubasi. But either way, I'm
Yeah,
saying week 9 or week 10, which is crazy. That would be if he goes 0-9, that would be insane.
that would be crazy because then he's got you, me, Johnny, who's got 3 really good teams, and then Nick. He'd be in trouble.
He would be in big trouble.
He'd be in big trouble if he doesn't get his first win until week 9.
That's gonna be fun to watch, I
He's got an
think.
8% chance for playoffs, which is he's not dead, but
Nope. I think every year we kind of talk about
he's got to
usually
win.
about 6 or 7 is like the last cusp of with our
Yeah.
16 playoff format. 6 or 7 losses. Usually, not every team with that many gets in, but usually there's one team that might sneak in at the end with 7 losses, maybe 6 losses. You're kind of right on the cusp there, which
He's got some points. Like he's not last, so
that's
that's
true. See, that's a big part too. Now we have points tiebreaker, like, but also like even if we're talking 6, 7 losses, that means he only has 1 or 2 more, which
yeah.
is
He's got to go on a run.
that's a scary thought. Unfortunately, we don't have any undefeated teams left to try and plot out their first loss, but yeah, this is fun. I really do think that everybody as of right now is still in the game. Like just kind of looking down at the bottom, Chris with the least amount of points has made moves since, his first few games. So I think he's going to be trending up for sure. Nick's made a couple moves, Jeff's made a couple moves. So really everyone at the bottom there, I think has
Making moves.
made some moves to try and make their team better. So I think we've got a as of right now, I think we got a 12-man race. I think this is a good season, and things are obviously going to change over the next few weeks. But I'm excited to see how it all unfolds, and hopefully everybody can get healthy, man. Not just for my team, but for everybody's team, but also especially for my team.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone wants to get healthy, but yeah, just really quick: me versus Jimmy, Don versus Chris, Nick versus Lubasi. Big game for Lubasi's new squad. You got a big game versus Johnny. I think the 2 best teams are going at it right now. James versus Chewy, which will be fun to watch. And then yeah, the toilet bowl. So one of these teams are either going 0-6 or both of them is going 1-5. So that'll be an interesting week. Jeff needs to win that. He needs to win that for
So
sure.
I think Rudy needs to win that even more.
Right.
Like that's
Both need to win it.
that's
That's
gonna
for sure.
be that's gonna be a fun game to keep an eye on this weekend.
I agree. That's probably one of the biggest games for the just the sake of they need to stay in this race. And they both need to win.
That's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna have all eyes on deck on that game. Texting Jeff, texting Rudy. Who's gonna win that game? Like Ooh, that's exciting. I might not even worry about mine because I'm probably going to lose. So
We'll see.
we'll see how it goes. But all right, I think that pretty much wraps up basically getting us all caught up through the first few weeks. Like I said at the beginning, hopefully we're going to be get a little bit more consistent with the podcast so we can talk about this week in and week out as we go through the season.
Shorter podcasts.
Huh?
And have shorter
And
podcasts.
have shorter podcasts so since we don't have to cram so much information into one. But yeah, with that said, I think we can close it out here. Do you have any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Week 6, we're in week 6, right? Yeah, week 6 should have some fireworks. We're starting to kind of, I mean, everyone's tight. Like Ryan just said, everyone's tight right now, except maybe those two teams at the bottom who play each other. But I'm excited to get everybody kind of further apart and see what teams kind of rise and what teams fall because we're all pretty close right now.
Yeah, nobody is out right now. I think everyone here
Nobody's
still has
in.
a shot at playoffs, depending how things go. But definitely over the next probably 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to start weeding out some of the weak links, and some people are going to watch their playoff hopes die. So we'll see how it goes, and we will be hopefully back again next week. Good luck to everybody in week 6.
Peace.
Peace.